bought in because welcome back to another episode of a gaming podcast, episode 21. We're legal. That's it. It's downhill after this, you know. So
at least we're legal in the States. Like we were always legal for a while.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, this covers the entire world. We're set now and everything. We're good. But yeah, it's a lovely snowy day in good old Toronto and everything. Hopefully, all of you avoid the snow today. Caboose, how's it going today, my man?
Good, doing really good. Chilling. You know, there's been some announcements for Suicide Squad, and I mean, we're a week away. Or at least as of when we're recording this, we're a week away from the deluxe edition, the early access launch.
Oh wow, I forgot that it's that close.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we're probably going to talk a little bit about it today, so I'll save some of my thoughts for then. But yeah, some big things coming up.
Cool. Sammy, how about you?
I've just been with cars. At any time, I am drowning in car content, so I'm very glad to be here because I miss gaming activities.
I really wanted to just be about the Pixar franchise.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Nothing more. Nothing more.
Good chow.
Good chow.
Good chow.
Funny enough, one of the shops has like a Porsche that has decals to Lightning McQueen. So,
oh no way! That's cool.
Do they sell a lot of those decals?
I mean, you could get it's a little pricey, but anyone could get decals for that kind of stuff.
You should get the cars Crocs that light up because that just walk around the office of the dealership with that.
Yeah.
Great.
The real question is, Sam, did you finish Hellblade?
I didn't finish Hellblade.
Did you even start Hellblade? I guess is the second question now.
I'm like 3-4 hours in.
That's the entire game.
No, it's like 7 hours, like 7-8 hours.
Yeah,
I have no idea what's going on, but I'm having a great time. The storyline's pretty confusing, but I'm just trusting the process.
Yeah. And then
go with it, yeah.
Yeah, and you got a good pair of headphones to listen to it too, right? And everything. All right, perfect. Steve Saylor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
How was MagFest?
Sorry I missed missed last week's Xbox Developer Direct because I was flying out to Washington D.C. for MagFest, which is the music and gaming festival, and it was fun. It was good. I've been a couple of times in the past. Like I think the earliest I went back to is 2013. So it's always like a great community con to go to. They've got like a 24-hour arcade, and there's there's music constantly going. So it's a really good time, and there's a bunch of like nerdy panels you can really go to. There's like all the the same kind of like convention fare, and it was a fun time. Got to meet up with some Twitch ambassadors too, and so I got to enjoy that. And the Xbox Developer Direct was pretty cool. I was watching you guys react to it. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was a lot of big surprises, especially Indiana Jones coming out this year.
Yeah.
So
that's now pushed up to my most anticipated game of the year. If it does come out and release in 2024, it's that big for me.
All right. Steve V, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be here with all of you. I've had my head down this past weekend playing Palworld, the game that has just blown up across the internet.
Oh, that AI art game, right?
Yeah. We're definitely going to be talking about that. That is definitely a topic today.
Cannot wait.
And then Riley, how are you doing? Welcome back as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the last one. I was mid-flight when the Xbox showcase was happening, and I was like kind of just getting off the plane when I saw the Discord call come in. So I was like, oh.
And you didn't answer.
You didn't even answer. You didn't even get you didn't even get Wi-Fi on the plane or anything,
I couldn't get Wi-Fi on the plane. I was so bummed. Like they're like, oh, we forgot the iPad. I'm like, what do you mean you forgot the iPad? Like, how do you forget? It's the one thing you're not supposed to forget. Like. I was like, okay,
there's been a couple of instances where I'm getting on a flight and I look up the flight information to see that there's Wi-Fi, and then I go and sit down and I see the little Wi-Fi symbol slash through, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not doing work for 5 hours.
Oh, so you flew out on Air Canada too, huh?
I was going to say Delta.
I wasn't trying to say any names, but yeah.
That's funny because I was gonna throw out Delta because I've had the past 2 Delta flights. they've screwed me on the Wi-Fi situation.
Really?
It's either they don't have it at all, or they forget to kick it in, and it's like an hour into the flight. I'm like, guys,
Which is the one that actually has like an actual like entertainment app, and you can be able to pay for like food and stuff on the plane
Air
using
Canada.
the app.
That's Air Canada.
No, it's not Air Canada. Air Canada
also has that.
Delta has
It's
that.
either Delta or
Yeah.
United. I can't remember which one it is.
Delta has that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, I've never had issues with like they were the ones actually that I've had the least issues with is Delta, but
This is insane. Like people are not getting Wi-Fi. People are not getting snacks on the flight. Like when I mentioned that, people were surprised. Well, like you get snacks. I'm like, yeah, they bring it for free. Yeah, what are you talking about? So I don't know. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, the defined snacks, like you basically get like a very small bag
of
like
pretzels.
Mini pretzels.
Four pretzels.
4 pretzels and then
Four pretzels. Yeah, that's pretty much
of salt on them.
Yeah,
two grains of salt only.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild. I've never seen a can of Coke stretch between 3 people. I've never seen that before. Until you got on the flight. You're like, how is this impossible? How did you do this?
In the little teeny cups.
They enjoy your sip. I'm like, thanks. You know, like those like the little Dixie cups that you get from the dentist.
Oh, and the worst part is that basically you're finished in like 5 minutes, but you got to wait 45 just for anyone to come by with a garbage bag.
Yeah.
So it's like you're basically just holding on
Just
to it.
sitting there holding the cup.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's stupid.
With the lack of Wi-Fi, you're like, well, the cup will entertain me. You know, so
Welcome to the airline podcast, guys. Where we talk all things flight.
airline, gestures and everything. Caboose, why don't you take us to the final episode of Suicide Squad, the Insider story? What's going on with this? I heard there's a Joker is back.
Yeah, so they've been doing this whole Suicide Squad Insider thing for the last like 2 months, where they give us like a good deep dive into some behind the scenes and in general the development process for the game, as well as revealing new information, all this and that. And it seems like they were teeing up that this is like the final episode of it, which is bizarre to me because of how much post-launch content they have coming. I think I would have liked for them to keep this going. I think it's nice just in general to get a look at a peek behind the curtain, if you will, just get an idea as to what it's like working on these games. I always love stuff like this. So I'm sad if it is ending, but in their potential last episode, they did a big reveal, or at least they did big talks about what their post-launch plans were for the game. So they talked a lot about, yes, Joker is the first DLC character that's coming to the game. In a roadmap that they posted online after the episode had aired, it was confirmed that Joker's coming in March. So not too long after the release, but they also showed gameplay for the character. A lot of people were confused as well as to how the character's coming back, and it's because it's from another Earth. It is an Elseworlds story. So he's being plucked from the multiverse, and seemingly from his Earth, Brainiac's already won, or whatever the case may be. Joker's the last one left. You bring him into your main timeline, and now he's playable. And because of that, it's a very different look, design, interpretation that you may be familiar with, or from what you may be familiar with from Rocksteady's Arkham games. In my opinion, I don't think anything compares to the Arkham Joker.
Yeah.
And it would have been impossible, unless they were to bring Mark Hamill back, it would have been impossible to pretty much live up to that. But I do think that this one's it's weird. it's interesting. It's a little weird, and a lot of people have mentioned that it's got like an Alan Cummings sort of vibe to it, which I agree. And I do think that that's kind of a cool approach to it. I think as well he's got a prosthetic leg, from what some people have pointed out online. So it's an interesting take on the Joker. The only thing that I'm hoping for is that when it comes to his inclusion, that there's some narrative in there and there's some story. I don't want it to be like Avengers, where a lot of characters were added in post-launch, and it was like, hey, collect a bunch of audio logs to get the lore about why they're here. I want there to be some sort of interactivity there. I want there to be something that I can like chew on in terms of narrative. But a part of the roadmap, they've also mentioned that season 1, beginning in March, includes playable Joker, a new playable environment, which looks to be like a small space that's very Jokerized, new boss fights plus enemy variants. And they showed pictures here of Green Lantern and Superman that are very Brainiac infused. There's going to be new DC villain themed weapons and gear, and there looks to be some guns and some melee weapons here that are tailored around Two-Face and the Scarecrow. New Riddler content, which I'm very happy to hear. new activities plus strongholds. And then there's 2 episodes they said that are coming as part of this update in March. And there's a banner here with Two-Face and Scarecrow. And then from seasons 2 to 4, they didn't really show what characters are coming, but they said that there will be 3 new playable characters, 3 new playable environments. And then they showed some of those playable environments, one of them including what looks to be Arkham Knight's Gotham, as well as Arkham Asylum. I don't know if it's the entirety of Arkham Knight's Gotham, but it's definitely a section of it. And through that insider episode, they showed Arkham Asylum, which is awesome, in my opinion. And then one of the playable areas looks to be this frozen landscape. So some people are speculating that a playable character down the line could end up being like Mr. Freeze, Captain Cold, or even someone like Killer Frost, which, I mean, it's promising. I think that they've definitely laid out a pretty solid roadmap here, a pretty solid plan. Obviously, they've also mentioned that all this content is meant to be free. The things you're going to be paying for are skins, are battle passes, things like that, right? There's cosmetics you're going to spend your money on. But the content in terms of characters, new playable environments, the boss fights, all this and that is going to be free of charge, which is a good thing no matter what. Like, there's really no way to dance around that. That's pretty nice. Yeah. It's just about how much are you going to charge me for those skins, Rocksteady? You know, am I paying $20?
It's going to be like a Ninja Turtle situation with Street Fighter where like each turtle skin was $20.
That's what I'm wondering, you know?
I mean here's
Avengers,
the thing.
Avengers did that thing too, right? Whereas like some skins were like half the cost of the game and it's like, get out of town. Okay.
Yeah, like in the episode they made it mention several times that this is all complete, like all this content is completely free. It basically, as long as you purchase the game, then it's all available. And I'm I was wondering, like, okay, is it really? Are you gonna have like, because when we first sort of saw it, I remember the big outcry was, oh great, this is gonna have total microtransactions, and I wonder if this is in response to that, being like, okay, we just got to make it free for everybody, which is, you know, a bold take to do, because I don't know if that could be sustainable for a while, but I mean, it's Rocksteady, WB, who knows what could happen. But yeah.
Do you get to unlock any skins in this game?
We just
imagine so.
I think there are some suits that you get to unlock through. There was an end game live stream with some streamers that they put out a couple of days ago as well.
Yeah.
And I was noticing that they did like a Riddler challenge halfway through it, and they got some cosmetics. But this is the fear that I have. Okay, as someone who played Avengers, there were unlockable skins in that game too. They weren't very good. You know, they were
or they were
so forgettable
colors. Or they were so RNG based that you could get like an epic once every 100 times.
Exactly, right? And there's a couple things that I'm scared about. Number one is the price of the skins. Number two is, if there are unlockable skins, how much of a grind is it to unlock them? And then number three, if there are unlockable skins, are they nice? You know, like those Justice League suits that they showed. Are those specific to the deluxe edition, or can I actually earn them? You know, because those feel like they would be the perfect suits to lock behind the boss battle of the specific Justice League member. You know, you beat the Flash, you get the Captain Boomerang Flash suit. I don't think they're going to end up doing that. And like you said, Steve Saylor, you know, how sustainable is this sort of model? I don't know if it is sustainable at all. And this is the scariest thing about this game being always online and it being a live service. I'm glad that they're bringing in an offline mode for the story mode, but there's some cool stuff that's coming as part of these updates that could just be locked away if one day they decide to close their doors on this game.
Well, I guess the proven test ground of this is Avengers, right? Where as they started, you know, winding down support of the game and everything, they're like, okay, fine, we're going to unlock all the cosmetics for players and stuff like that. So I think you can kind of hold Rocksteady's feet over the fires and say like, okay, this is kind of now the standard of this model. But at the end of the day, this is the model, whether you're looking at games as a service or any kind of game with, you know, continued support, is here's a bunch of free content, come in and then spend all your money on a battle pass that's optional. Thank God it's all, you know, just cosmetic based. It's not pay to win or any kind of stuff like that. So that's nice. I do enjoy that aspect of it, but yeah, of course, at the end of the day, it is still a premium game. So what's the chances of you paying, you know, $70, $80 to get in, and then all of a sudden you want one skin, you want the 90s animated Harley Quinn skin, and now you're looking at what, $20, $30 for it?
I know.
That's a concern. But at the end of the day.
No loot crates. No.
Okay, that's good.
No.
But at the end of the day, I do like the fact that I could just opt out. I can play the game, jump out, come back in March, played season 1, come back for season 2 and stuff like that, and just kind of just be like, I'm okay with just free content at this point.
Yeah. So that was another thing they mentioned in the Insider that I honestly want just a bit more specificity about. It sounds really cool, the idea that, there's nothing I'm missing out on, right? If I stop playing the game for 6 months, I can come back and all that content that dropped in those 6 months is still there for me to jump into. Does that mean as well that they're gonna do the same battle pass system that's in Halo Infinite? Because I really love how consumer friendly the battle pass system is in Halo Infinite, where if I miss season 2's battle pass, I can just select it and get started with it today. And I think that'd be really great if they implemented that in this game as well. And honestly, something that I'm sure will get more and more people invested in something like the Battle Pass, right? Regardless of how much it might cost. They might think, season 2, that doesn't seem like my cup of tea right now. I'm going to play and just enjoy it. Or maybe I'm going to stop playing for 4 months or whatever and come back and see what's going on and be like, you know what? Okay, maybe now I'll get season 2's Battle Pass because there's all these playable characters that I'm having fun with.
The other thing is that we just don't even know what the battle pass is. I mean, at the end of the day, it could just be so lackluster that all of us are just like, I don't need it. I mean, I'm very interested to see what kind of creativity Rockstar can come to the table with, because if season 1 is kind of like Joker themed, are we going to get, Joker themed banners and emotes and stuff like that? Yeah. Or, you're talking about, the teases for, Gotham and Arkham Asylum. Are we going to get like stuff like throwbacks to the Arkham series and stuff? I think the possibilities are endless to kind of entice and engage players, but I also think at the end of the day there are limits to all of that. 100%. If theoretically the battle pass is 100 levels, how much of that am I actually going to care about? Is it just, hey, hit max rank on this, hit 100, and then you get a cool Joker skin, and everything else is kind of just what it like
80% of battle
breadcrumbs. It's just breadcrumbs to get you to level 100 or level 50 even.
But so also, like, what's most important when any game has a battle pass is there needs to be a gameplay loop that's satisfying enough to make you want to grind for that level 100, right? Because
that thing with in regards to Destiny is that one thing that I liked about that what they did was that essentially there's 2 versions of the battle pass. There's the one that basically if you pay for the season and or the seasonal pass, and you basically can unlock at each level new sort of items and gear and weapons and stuff like that that could go up to 100. Or if you don't want to pay for the season pass, they're like at like not at every level, but at every couple levels, you do unlock certain gear and weapons. So, which is actually kind of like neat. So, like, even if they do charge for a battle pass, I hope that there's at least something for those who just bought the game and just wanted to play it and jump in. But you're right. I think I would love the Halo Infinite sort of style of like, hey, I just want to play Seasons 2 battle pass on my own and kind of go through it at my own pace.
Yes.
Did they say how long a season was going to be?
I don't know. What's that?
I think it's quarterly, is it not?
Did they say? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I got to watch back the episode, but I know that they said that there's supposed to be 2 episodes per season. I don't know if that means 2 battle passes, or what exactly. I feel like there just needs to be a bit more clarity about what's going on here, just to give everyone just the bottom line of what their plans are here with the live service elements of Suicide Squad.
The other thing I do before we just dive right out of the battle pass, I just wanted to also, because I'm very curious to see if they do a similar battle pass as to like Call of Duty or something like that, where if you buy the first battle pass, you grind all the way to 100. Are you collecting enough in-game currency to then theoretically buy the next one? Or is this going to be kind of like Halo, where every season you're coming in and forking out, $20?
Yeah.
Because
is that what Halo did? I thought that it because I know Fortnite started that trend of like in the battle pass you get enough of your V-Bucks for the next battle pass. And then I know
wrong, but
even Avengers did that too. Avengers was crazy though. It was a battle pass for every character.
Jesus Christ.
I don't want to misspeak with Halo, but I know that season 1 leading into season 2, you had to purchase each.
That's crazy.
Battle pass separately.
That's a lot.
I think it was depend. I think it was for like any of the additional, like the kind of the mini little battle passes, like for the event stuff. I think those were for free though. I think if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like the Christmas one or whatever.
Yeah. But I'm kind of, because the reason why I asked, like, also, like, how long do you think a season will be? Is kind of based on I mean, obviously we don't know how much runway they've had, but how much runway has Rocksteady had when it comes to now post game, like, end game content? They said that they're gonna launch it in March, which is basically a month after launch. How much, like, are they going to be able to go at that pace and be able to keep going? Otherwise they're going to turn into a Halo Infinite situation where it's going to take multiple months in order to be able to keep up, because obviously when they first launch, they're going to be focusing on, post-launch, like, patches and updates to make sure everything works and everything is balanced correctly. Now that they've got a whole bunch of data from players playing it, so they're not going to be necessarily focusing on all the time on just what the next content's going to be. But if they're going to burn out with, like, all their content within a year, that's a lot for a studio to be able to keep going afterwards, even if it doesn't really get a lot of return.
So if I were to be a betting man, I'm assuming that what they've laid out here, obviously, in that roadmap, is probably their year one worth of content. And then it's all at that point, depending on the game and how it sells and how it performs, to see what they want to do next. And I know, like, a really key thing in terms of getting these updates out consistently and making sure that this game is kind of in the public eye for as much as possible to keep people interested, is that it launches in a good state, right? That was what set Avengers back, right? They had all these ideas. Hawkeye and Kate Bishop were supposed to be like a double feature. They were supposed to drop back to back. Instead, we got, like, Kate Bishop in November of the year that game came out, and then we didn't get the Hawkeye DLC for another 4 months after that, and then we didn't get the Black Panther expansion for another, like, 4 months after that.
Let's not forget about Spider-Man as well. Spider-Man took forever.
Spider-Man and that whole deal, right? So with Suicide Squad saying right out of the gate, okay, we're gonna have Joker dropping in March. Hopefully the game launches and is in, and it's stable, right? And it's not full of bugs and it's not completely busted. And then that way we get Joker in March, and then we get a steady release of content after that keeps people coming back constantly. And then if enough people get interested in the game and enough people buy it and it's good, then we can see what they want to do for a season 5, 6, and 7, right?
The other nice thing is that to me, I see the seasonal roadmap of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. Almost it's like a vote of confidence in that Rocksteady kind of knows what its targets are at this point. Whereas when Avengers came out, sure, they had, like, the Hawkeye, the Kate Bishop, but everything was so nebulous. I remember, like, any kind of question you had as for post-launch content, it was like, well, you just got to wait and see until they do one of those round table kind of direct style things. It was like, how are we so in the dark of a game that is out right now that I'm currently playing and I still don't know what's happening next?
Plus, with all these delays, man, I'd have to hope that on top of making sure that, stability and bug fixes, and again, making sure that it's going to launch in a good state, that they also made sure that they were tuning and getting all that post-launch content ready to go. A 7-year development cycle is a long time. It is a long time.
And also, by the way, with only one sort of it was a closed alpha, but sort of only one alpha, and they have not tested those servers fully yet.
I know. I'm worried
scared,
about that, man. I'm scared.
I'm worried day one it's gonna be like we're gonna get errors.
That's never handled a massive multiplayer game on this scale ever. I'm definitely worried for that exact same reason. I hope that the servers are going to be stable. I feel like an open beta, honestly, it really would have complemented this game well, especially considering the response to that closed alpha. Once they lifted that NDA, the public opinion started to shift for this game. And I feel like an open beta really would have done it well.
Have you talked about that, Aaron? About, like, because you were at the preview event, and, like, it seems that, like, the people who were at the preview event thought it was not necessarily the best way to be able to run it. But according to everyone playing the closed alpha, it's like, no, this is way better than everyone's saying.
I think this is just one of those situations where we only had about somewhere in the range of 3 to 5 hours to play it at that event. And I mean, Destin and Gary pointed out multiple times there were, like, technical issues, and I had them too. Like, my TV was bugging out. They had to replace my TV. They tried to replace my HDMI. There was a lot of interruptions. And with a game that's that's this big and that has these RPG elements, you need to like sink your teeth into it. And so I think the alpha was a really good opportunity to just dive in, put as many hours as possible, and see how you truly felt about things like the gunplay, the traversal, the open world. And those were the things that I was really focusing on when I played the alpha. I had a full weekend. I played every single day. I put a total of almost 20 hours into it. And I was thoroughly addicted with how the traversal ran and how the gunplay was. And I also was very impressed that me and a bunch of my friends, while I'm on PS5, they're on PC, we're on crossplay in this massive open world. I didn't have a single frame drop. I didn't have the crazy hitch, like maybe like a texture pop in here and there, but nothing where I was like, "Ooh, that's rough." Like it was running very smooth, which I was surprised by, and I was very impressed by. I'm hoping though, again, come launch when it's not a closed alpha that only a limited amount of people can get invited to, what those servers are going to be like and whether or not they're going to be able to withstand that many people jumping in and playing.
There's a solo mode for this game though, right?
You can play by yourself, and you can play in a closed lobby where nobody's going to join you or do anything like that.
And then you can just swap between the characters.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. You can switch between the characters outside of combat.
At launch, it would still be running on the same servers. Like it's not an offline.
Yeah, you still have to be online.
No, there's no offline. Not they're adding offline for the story mode at some point this year. We don't know when.
So day one, even if you said, "Hey, I'm just going to play by myself," you kind of still be SOL.
You can't.
Yeah.
If the servers are tanked, then you can't play.
You hope that
Christ.
under any contingency, Rocksteady knows, because that will be the damning thing.
Here's the thing you just need to understand about when you because I've played my fair share of a games of service. And I've played my fair share of games when they launch new content, new seasons, and it has to be online. You just got to get used to the fact that the first day you're not gonna be able to play it as much as you want.
I can't tell you how many Destiny expansions have dropped where I'm just sitting at the start screen listening to the brand new score.
That's why I don't play day one. I wait until at least a day or two later.
Steve, we would be living in a utopia. We would be living in a utopia if people understood that's the way that games work. I'm telling you right now, if Rocksteady comes out with this game and it's borked on that first weekend, that's the damning nail in the coffin.
No, here's what would be the damning nail in the coffin. If GTA 6 online launches and that crashes, then that should tell everybody, oh, not everybody can be able to make this happen.
Yeah. Well, but even then, people are going to just jump into the story mode again and just have fun with that, right?
True.
It depends, unless they're going to do like an always online thing for that as well.
People are looking for an excuse to go up against Suicide Squad. That's the thing.
I know. I feel like these days there's so many bad faith arguments against this game. Like there are legitimate criticisms that you can have for. We talked about this a little bit towards the end of the last episode. There are legitimate criticisms that people have about this game that I have about this game. But there's some really bad faith arguments. You know, I saw your face, Stevie, when I was talking about the Elseworlds Joker. So many reports out there being like, even though the Joker's dead, he's somehow back in Suicide Squad. It's like they explain to you how he's back.
Exactly. I was about to say
10 seconds.
I have the press release in front of me,
and he used to be on the Suicide Squads, and elsewhere, like it's a different universe. Like
and I'm sorry.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
People weren't upset when Thanos came back. They're like, what? Another Thanos? What? That's good.
I'm sorry. The multiverse, Elseworlds, DC freaking invented it, man. All right.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a saturated market, it started with them. All right. This is Rocksteady pulling from lore that originated at that company. Okay. And for a game that's been in development for 7 years, it's so hard to know what's going to be saturated 7 years later. You know,
guaranteed if this game is a success or at least becomes a success, and we're like a year or two in the line, I can guarantee there will be a Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline. 1,000%.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the one of the end game missions is titled Finite Crisis, so they've already they're planting seeds, right? Like,
nice.
Yeah. Okay. So it's again, I can see it. If this game does well, I hope it comes out. I hope enough people appreciate some of the things that I do genuinely think are good about the game, and I hope it lands on some of the things that I'm not sure about. I want that story to be really good. I want it to be fulfilling, and I don't want it to be short. I want the DLC content to have substance other than a new playable character.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping at the end of the day that this is of a quality that we expect from Rocksteady, and that's the one thing that I can say I was definitely feeling when I played that alpha. It was like, this is a AAA game. This didn't feel like not to diss on Crystal Dynamics or all the people that worked on Avengers, but when you're playing Avengers, especially when I played that beta, and definitely come launch, I mean, the game's not running at 60. Even when it came to the new consoles, it wasn't running at 60. It felt very like janky, like the animations weren't smooth. The traversal wasn't like fast or fluid. Suicide Squad very much feels like, no, like this is from a studio with some like really like talented people behind it that have made incredible games before. And you can tell as well that a lot of the devs have some passion for this, man. I've seen some people that don't even work at Rocksteady anymore that are still fighting the good fight on social media about how much they loved working on this game.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too, is like, I mean, Rocksteady, they know how to be able to make a good story. And when that's the thing that's sort of selling me on it. Like, sure, all the multiplayer, all the battle pass, all that stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to jump into that, but I want to see what story that they're creating with this Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And they did say that there is more cinematics in this than they had in any other game that they made. And I'm like, okay, that gives me a little bit of hope. And I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people are very focused on two sides of the argument with this. They're either hoping that this game does really bad, or this game is like, it's okay. But here's the thing: a lot of people keep forgetting. A 7 out of 10 is still a fun game. It's not a masterpiece, whatever, but everyone wants like the 8s or 9s or 10s out of 10s in order to be able to justify a playing experience. But you can have just as much fun and still have a great enjoyment out of a 7 out of 10 game. But everyone just thinks it's like you see a 7 out of 10 and it's an automatic failure.
A 7 out of 10 used to mean, maybe I'll get that game on sale. And if you spent $30 or $40 on Suicide Squad, I'd imagine pretty much any way you slice it, you're probably going to be like, that was worth my $30 or $40.
Because you know what? I played Gotham Knights just recently again, and that's a 7 out of 10, but I had a blast playing it.
Join me, Steve. Join me.
I'll play. Hey, I've got a good spec'd up Batgirl. Well, let's go.
I've been saying that thing about Gotham Knights forever. That is a perfectly inoffensive 7 out of 10 game. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's not the biggest dumpster fire in the entire world either. There's some fun to be had. There's a solid story. But man, there's games these days where it's like, if it's not of the quality that people want, they'll be out to get you, they're coming for you. And if, God forbid, you have some sort of marketing presentation, and there's a glitch, like for instance, when people were streaming the end game and there was like a bug where a character was missing in a cutscene, it's like, oh boy, ammunition for some of those people that are ready to find anything to dunk on this game with. And I think, again, Suicide Squad in particular has been like a victim of people that just will look for any argument to say that this game is bad. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because there are legitimate things to criticize, and you should be focusing on those things. And instead, if there's some things that you like, say that you like them. You don't need to mask it behind, well, I like this, but I also hate all these other things. It's okay to say you liked this and that, but you also dislike more things, I just hate that negativity anymore.
Yeah, I just hate that negativity has more influence than positivity, and it just sucks.
100%. Yeah.
Is another question I had about the game is the replay value, because for you to like go through your battle pass, is that just the story mode, or is there like another mode, like just like a multiplayer mode, like a wave mode, right?
There's co-op. I think they said that in the end game, there's going to be a horde type mode. Okay. Which I think is great. I wish they showed that off, but they haven't.
Same, yeah.
There's some other end game mission. I'll be honest, when they did that stream for the end game content, I wasn't thoroughly impressed. Nothing looked like super engaging to me. I thought it was cool, like the little cutscene going to the other Earth, right? You could go through the multiverse. I thought that was sweet. And I do find it interesting, like you're supposed to play the main game and get this currency that you use to get to the other Earth. And that's how you play through the end game. Then you want to complete that end game mission to get the really good rewards. Okay. And then you go through that loop. As long as I don't have to spend real money on that currency to go to the other Earth, then cool. Like incentivize you to keep playing and keep jumping into the more tougher missions to get some really cool gear. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see how all this is executed. Like, a lot of stuff sounds good in theory, but it's just about, will they stick the landing? Will they land on their 2 feet? I have some faith in Rocksteady, especially I'm with you, Steve, on the story. I think narratively, especially what I played in the alpha and what I played when I got my early hands on in LA, the cutscenes and the writing and the character interactions are like, oh my God, incredible. Chef's kiss. Especially there's one mission in the alpha that is just fantastic. Like, so good, and it's very early on, so you're all going to get to it pretty quickly. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it's like the best part of the whole game. But we'll see. I hope it's good. I want it to be good, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm there for the story, and like the same, like I always like a good old like superhero story mode. So hopefully, it's a strong story. Like with the Avengers, I enjoyed the Avengers story. After I finished the story, I was like, all right, well, I'm done. Like that.
I think that's the thing that pretty much everyone agreed on, was that the story of Avengers with the campaign was good.
Yeah, good.
That
really
Black Panther expansion was cool too, man. I was really into it.
I forgot about that. That was so great. Christopher Guest as T'Challa. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wild. Well, and so it's next week it comes out, the 30th or
30th for the deluxe edition, okay. February 2nd for everybody else.
All right, we'll see. It's gonna be a busy day that day. We'll see how it goes and everything.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. All right. The big controversy. Palworld. You know what? You're
fuck.
You're
This is all I heard about at MagFest was fucking Palworld. Jeez.
All right. I know Steve's played it. I play. Anyone else here on the podcast try it out? Or anything like that?
I haven't tried it yet.
It is on Game Pass if you want to try it out, for Game Pass on Xbox and PC. I heard the Xbox version is a little bit janky, a little bit, but for the PC one, it was a little bit fine, minus like little hiccups here and there.
I'm not super into Pokemon. Is this gonna not be for me?
That's the best part, Caboose. That is the best part. Let me tell you.
All right, why don't you sell it to us right now? Right?
Absolutely.
Let's go. Yeah.
So okay. I think there's two separate arguments that we can, or conversations that we can have. One specific to the game, and then obviously the larger controversies.
Yeah.
I think they're both very interesting to kind of go over. But
yeah, we'll start with the game first. Obviously.
Yeah, so, I mean, last week we ended the show, and I was joking around. I was like, I'm gonna start playing Pokemon with guns tomorrow. I'm so excited that this game is even real. Like, I couldn't even comprehend that this game was actually coming out and not just like some sort of like fever dream or something like that.
I love everyone compares it to Pokemon and not Digimon, because Digimon is literally Digimon with Pokemon guns. So that's all.
Yeah, they did it first. So I woke up Friday morning, sat down with a cup of coffee. I was like, listen, I'm gonna take a quick little video of this, post it online, and then kind of delete this game and not even think about it ever again. Next thing I know, an hour and a half has passed, and I am fully invested in this game. Caboose, you're asking if you're not like dedicated or interested in Pokemon. The pitch, or what everyone's calling is like Pokemon with guns, I think is underselling the game, to be honest. I think it's such a reductive kind of way to kind of explain. Yes, it is Pokemon, like the Pokemon core game loop, but then there's also this entire other section to the game where you're crafting your own base, you're managing resources. It's essentially Pokemon mixed with Arc and then Breath of the Wild as well, where there's like exploration, a lot of Breath of the Wild systems in there. It's this whole hodgepodge of like different games.
I'll even say specifically Pokemon Legends, actually.
Yes,
Pokemon Arceus Legends.
That's what I've seen the most comparisons
to. It plays exactly,
and I think that's
like
totally
that.
warranted. Like, you're out there, like you basically wake up on this island, and the first person you talk to is like, oh, I was here, or I was exploring this island with my crewmates and everything, and then there are wild man-eating pals just around this island. So you're basically like, oh, I'm screwed here. So you basically set up your entire base. You start managing resources. You start crafting your own like little Pokeball type things. Go out, battle these Pokemon things, capture them. There's 111.
You literally beat them with a stick, by the way.
Yeah, you beat them with a stick, and then you start like upgrading your weapons, get armor, so you have like a spear, a bow and arrow, and stuff like that. And then you also send out your own, version of a Pokemon, a PAL, and everything. The best part is that it's not turn-based, so that's easily speaking to me. They're automated, so their weapon set, their move set, they're just doing automatically. So you can go out, have an encounter. All the pals are out there in the wild. Like you actually see them on the map. It's not, oh, I just ran into a bush and all of a sudden you get and then the screen goes and transitions into a fight. Like it's happening in real time.
Pokemon are called pals.
Pals, yeah.
Pals,
yeah. It's a world of pals, a pal world, if you will. And then, so essentially you're collecting all these pals, bringing them back into your base, and then you're automating the resource management. So, for instance, some pals will be great at like chopping down trees and collecting wood. Some are great at like mining stone. Some are great at, managing the furnaces and taking ores and making them into ingots. So really, it's taking that like base management resource system that you'd find in like Ark or Minecraft and something, and then just automating it with the pals that you bring back.
And like some of those other games, is there a system here where you're in a server full of other players that can come and raid your base or steal your stuff? Or
no, it's much more cooperative. On PC, you can have like a private or a custom server with upwards of 32 people. On Xbox, it's limited to 4 right now. There is a bit of like a parity shift in that Xbox doesn't have as many features because they're waiting on
I think
certification.
It's like 8 people or something like that for Xbox.
Okay. Yeah. So they're just waiting on Xbox to catch up with certification, just to kind of bump up the feature set.
I don't know if you ever play Valheim, but it's the same thing. You can have people in your server as well.
Exactly. So you're all kind of just managing the base together, capturing things, and essentially the end goal is all around this open world. It's a sprawling open world. There are 4 let's call them like gym leaders that you have to fight, and they have like super difficult pals that you have to do like kind of like one-on-one. You have 6 pals on your inventory, and you go in and it's just this giant creature and you basically fight them. That's essentially what the game sets up for, is like go to these 4 towers around the map, defeat the boss, and then whatever happens in the end game kind of happens. I haven't really looked into what the end game of this
someone will be there by today, I'm sure.
So. Easily.
I'm assuming something of collecting them all, maybe.
Not really. Honestly,
no.
At no point in the game are they like, you have to go collect them all, or you have to do any of this. Like the game is essentially beat the 4 bosses, do whatever you need to. It doesn't even encourage you to really base build. It's kind of unessential to level yourself up and everything. But otherwise, like the game doesn't really tell you, hey, you got to collect them all. You got to find a Pikachu kind of thing. You like, I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know, Marcel, how deep you are. I'm 15 hours in.
So, Sammy, but before I dive into Sammy, you're going to say something, or?
I mean, there is an additional feature that no one's talked about, and I would like to know if, Steve or Marcel, have you been contributing to human trafficking in Palworld?
Oh boy. Yes.
What the fuck?
That is the best part. That is the so you can actually capture humans.
That's the best part.
The best part.
We need that soundbite clipped and uploaded on all social medias and then sent to the FBI.
Who's that girl? Who's that CTV lady that's having a spoof ad?
It was a good run for a
I feel like
podcast.
Steve's gonna have like a spoof ad on him now.
But thanks all for listening. It's been a good run. We made it.
You're all in this together with me. Sorry, you're all accomplices.
Right.
No, but the reason I say it's one of the best parts is because I'm not entirely sure that this is a core feature that's supposed to be in the game. Or
I honestly think it's a glitch.
The game is just I think it's a glitch, and it's just hysterical that you can go after these bandits that are like littered across the world, beat them up to like where the point where their health is like a sliver, and then throw a Pokeball type thing at them, and then they're just caught.
Yeah. Even the traveling like salesmen, you can also catch them.
Oh, I know.
You can also sell them.
You can sell them.
You can sell them
you can put them to work.
Wait.
Oh my god.
But wait, there's even
slavery too.
But wait, there's even a certain tool you get, the butcher tool, and you can butcher them for gold.
You got human trafficking, slavery, and cannibalism? What?
No. You're not eating these people. Come on.
Too far. I just said butcher. I didn't say cooking. I never said cooking. I said butchering. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said it's a glitch because anytime I caught when I caught a human, there was like a weird like pop up that happened. So like with the game out, so I'm like, I don't think this is meant to be like happening, me catching this human being. But I'm like, let me just try it out.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh yeah, try catching it. I'm like, oh okay. And then like a weird pop-up happened. So I don't know.
Like I said, it's a hysterical glitch that I think just.
But then they have a trait though, so it has to be because they're traits for handiwork.
Well, that's just amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I haven't even tried that.
Yeah, because once you once you like everyone has like a special trait, you know, for like heat, like seeds, like whatever stuff. And for the human, they have handiwork. So like if you're like, make me 6 more Pokeballs, and he's like, all right, you're the boss. You know, he goes and does it and everything. So,
well, at least we know what Marcel's into the game.
I'm not into it. I listen it. For me, I was like, let me just dive into this world. Like Steve as well. I was like, okay, I'll record it, and next thing I was like 6 hours went by. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I ended up playing this game for like 6 hours, and for me, I really like the whole like the Valheim vibes I was getting from it, where you're like, I didn't even care about the gun part and everything. I'm like, whatever, you can have guns, and like there'll be raids that'll be happening randomly for no reason. But like for me, I just really enjoyed like, all right, let's go make this base. Let's make this now. I guess all your pals that are working for you, you reward them with a nice little hot tub. You're like, hey, a little hot spring. You're like, you've been working hard. You deserve one hot spring. There you go.
Comfy beds.
Comfy beds because they're stressed out. I don't know why they're stressed out, but like, here's a bed, just relax, so like.
Oh yeah, so you work for me and you can't leave, but I got you a comfy bed.
I feed them. I
give them shelter.
Oh, I'm sorry, giving them like the necessities of life is such a comfort.
Now, and the Pokemon trainer is better. Let's just confine you to
I was gonna say that.
Steve,
like,
you and your
I ain't saying Pokemon is any better. I'm just saying. That's basically that's slavery of a different kind. I'm just saying, but
the thing is, if you accidentally I guess because they don't show them dead, but they give you loot and everything, and like then you'd be like, oh, here's a piece of meat from this chicken you just killed. You're like, oh well, I just what we're eating now, so. I don't. It's very I can see why people are addicted to it because like if you were playing like Valheim or those style of games, then you honestly get hooked. And for me, I got hooked with the whole building part and the whole Pokemon Legends part. When everyone played Pokemon Legends, everyone's like hooked to like, oh, this is what I want from Pokemon and everything. And basically, that's the same way the game plays. And then with the building part, that's what I really like. I didn't really get to the gun playing or like there's even like I guess the alphas of like certain pals as well, the same way as Pokemon as well, where they just took like what Pokemon Legends did and like Valheim's type of games and like this, and here you go, here's your pals and put them to work and everything. You can literally make a factory, they all have guns. There's a special trait where like the monkey you just caught, he can now use a gun or they can use rockets. I was like, what is this nonsense? What's happening?
It's absolute nonsense.
Okay.
You have
and then so now you're talking about all these similarities, and I'm assuming that's where like the controversy was starting to seep in here, right? And then now there's all this talk of are there AI generated things or are they ripping assets?
Yeah.
I know there was somebody who made like a straight up Pokemon mod for the game,
and then Nintendo came after them right away.
That thing went away.
Brought down on him.
Doug Bowser didn't take any time whatsoever.
Right. So
the person with that mod, but they paywalled it, right?
Oh, that's
did they?
That's
there you go.
That's
your first problem.
Way to definitely get on Nintendo's radar. If you weren't going to be on their radar already by making a Pokemon mod for this Pokemon lookalike, you are definitely going to by selling it to people.
Nintendo's going to make sure you never touch a Nintendo console ever again.
Oh yeah, you're done, buddy.
Your IP address is done.
But so I remember I saw this one specific clip of somebody who was in like a 3D blender, and they showed like a side by side of an asset of a Pokemon next to an asset of one of the pals, if you will. So is there some?
So I think there's undeniable proof that core inspirations were taken from Pokemon, especially like Scarlet and Violet, and brought over here. I mean, like it's just undeniable. You look at some of the character models and traits, like there is a Pikachu equivalent in this game that even has like the lightning bolt tail and everything.
Yep. Oh, it's a little like skinny Raichu. I was like, that's a Raichu right there. Like, that's what's going on.
There's one that looks like Dratini. There's one that the list can go on. There are some like solely original creations there that I just won't even deny. Like so it seems like they took a lot of inspiration from Pokemon, clearly just based off the way the game works, the systems and everything, and then character designs as well, or Pokemon designs. The blender thing I think is really interesting because again, we just don't know what the intention of the studio is. Listen, we're all in creatives. I'm never gonna, try and defend plagiarism here, but I do wonder what the studio's intent was. If it was, hey, we're trying to create something that incorporates these different games, put them all together, or we're creating a satire on Pokemon in which they just crossed the line. They took way too many liberations here, because if their satire is we want to see a Pikachu equivalent run a factory, that is funny on paper. Like that's a brilliant ass feature, or thing to come up with.
Hell of an elevator pitch.
Absolutely, and just see if we can get away with it. I commend someone for just having the balls to do that. That being said, if they did go and say, "Listen, we're going in to the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's tools, bringing over character models," obviously that's wrong. That's plagiarism and everything. We just don't have enough information. The other thing that's really come out, and I think has gone so buck wild and it's frustrating, is the whole assumption that they're using AI. The only thing that people are drawing...
That's been debunked.
Yes, or not debunked necessarily, but the whole argument was the CEO of the studio 2 years ago, a year ago, said, I'm interested in AI. That was it. And people were like, "Oh, you use AI?
So definitely AI."
But there was also
essentially it.
But wasn't there something with the person who helped them design them? Like he was just the turnaround he was doing so quickly, and like everyone was like, "Was this like? Is he like? Obviously, he's not gonna be like, well, I just use AI." But like the person who designed them, like his turnaround was so quick. He was pumping like 4 of them like an hour or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
that's not necessarily like proof of AI. They can basically just means that he had all the three, like we said, like the 3D models, and just tweaked them a little bit and be like, there you go,
traced them out, did something. I'm not a developer. I don't know what that kind of.
I don't know.
entails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the only thing that I'll say about this is when it comes to the AI argument, I guess that's something where like if it ends up being uncovered, then oh boy. But if it hasn't been, then it's not fair to make that assumption.
No. Yeah.
Besides that, I will mention that Nintendo, like bringing down the ban hammer on the guy making the mod, is very interesting in the case of Palworld, because that's on a very shrunken scale compared to what's happening with Palworld right now, right? Palworld's the #1 concurrent game on Steam. It is, you have to pay for it, right? Like how much is the
30,
game?
35?
Yeah.
So $30, and there's been listings as many 5 million people playing
so
at once, or something like that on Steam, or at least over 1 million.
So
7 million sold, and they were at 14 or 1.4 million concurrents.
No, 1. Now it's 1.8 now.
So that's insane. 7 million copies sold with over 1 million concurrent players. If you look at and compare that Nintendo gets involved on such a small scale as somebody making that Pokemon mod, it's weird that if there was some foul play here, that they haven't got involved yet. You know, that's why I say like maybe there isn't something there.
And I think you raised some very interesting points, because we know how Nintendo is so litigious. They'll go after anybody for any damn thing. And I think one of the most interesting things that kind of backs up this argument, that maybe Nintendo's lawyers have kind of gone into this, looked at it over the past 2 years since its reveal, is the fact that the game doesn't involve any evolutions. And I wonder if that's the system
the distinguishing factor,
where they're like, maybe that's enough to kind of differentiate itself.
Yeah.
Because like there are shinies, there are shiny, but like pretty much that's pretty much.
But the one
really
glaring thing that I was shocked by, they even call it the PAL Dex. Like that is okay. PAL spheres.
They're
like
on the line.
They are so on the line.
I've been kind of trying to catch up to it, because I feel like all of this happened while I was away.
Yeah.
But like the former head of the Pokemon legal team, Don McGowan, did comment on it.
Oh, did he?
So he's not with the company right now, but he did say in regards to Palworld, this looks like the usual rip-off nonsense that I would see 1,000 times a year when I was chief legal officer of Pokemon.
Oh,
I'm surprised it got this far.
I was gonna say, yeah, this would have like Nintendo or Game Freak would have, or the Pokemon Company would have already done something. They wouldn't have not have let this gone. This like
that's what I'm saying, right?
Bloomberg approached Nintendo for comment on everything going on.
Yeah.
Nintendo said it was aware of Palworld, but is not commenting on individual cases. Declined to comment. So that. To me, like that could go a lot of ways. Now that these are assets ripped from the game, they're gonna that'll happen. But until
that's
that happens,
the thing.
It's like
sure,
if there's some assets that are straight up being ripped out and copied, and there's like some plagiarism against some foul play, then it's over.
And it should be. And let's be clear, it should be over at that point. Yeah.
I mean, with this many players, with this many players, I mean, there's got to be like some gamer out there that can look at the can unpack the code and be able to take a look at it, and I don't know. Hopefully, maybe we'll see like soon, like whether or not any of the code is even similar. Because if any of that code is similar to Nintendo's code in any Pokemon game, it's game over. It's like literally like open and shut case. But I think because of the similarities, like it could be interpreted in many different ways. So.
I mean, if the Nintendo, if they're being too quiet, it's because they're cooking, and like they're
that
not
could be it too.
That
could be it.
And I've thought about that as well. That maybe they're building the legal case and they're ready to bring down the ban hammer. But again, like I feel like it's now it's gone to the point where this game has ballooned and gotten so big and
it's
has grown such an insane community.
Too big to knock down. I think
it's come to a point where even if Nintendo takes action, unless there's some really solid evidence to support Nintendo's case, it's going to create quite a blowback to Nintendo.
I think at best, Nintendo could approach them and be like, listen, we caught you, get rid of them and replace them with something else. I think that would probably be the best in terms of messaging and in terms of, the player base, the 6 million players now not pointing their fingers at Nintendo. The other interesting wrinkle that I want to bring
Nintendo's
up
can be very litigious and be like, no, that's it. It's similar. You got to take it down.
They won't play nice with Palworld
if they find that there's some assets that are being ripped out, then it's done.
because they got to protect their IP as any way, shape, or possible. And here's the thing, like if you you have to even if it's the smallest and similarity, if you want to keep your copyright, you have to basically have to send either a cease and desist or litigate at any given point. So unless there was an agreement that can be made or something, or there's an argument being like, yep, no, this Palworld falls under this sort of stipulation that it can work, but it doesn't violate copyright, then they'll be okay. But I don't know. I mean, I think you're right. I think Nintendo, the fact that they're not doing anything right now, they're working on something behind the scenes.
I'm actually really surprised they got a Game Pass check, to be honest.
And I was going to say that is the interesting wrinkle here is that given that Xbox has been marketing this game, it's been upfront and center on all their socials. You have to assume Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, their lawyers have looked over this game and been like, "Yep, checks out."
Because I don't really touch base with Nintendo. Like they partner on stuff all the time. It's a bigger conversation. I mean,
of course,
I haven't seen anything definitive. There's a lot of noise going on right now. People are like, oh, the features of this Pokemon look like the features of this Palworld creature, and I'm like, well, to be fair, they're very simple features.
There's not much.
So it's not like, oh, we got them. It's like, okay, maybe if it's the models, then if the models are ripped and they're mathematically polygonally the exact same type of thing, it's like, okay, this is very hard for this to be an accident at that point. But until that happens, I don't really, until Nintendo does something, there's zero reason to be super concerned until they build something or come forward with an accusation.
That's the Pikachu one.
I just dropped in Sparkit, which is the Pikachu equivalent, and I mean
not really. We know
to Riley's point.
But I was gonna
if someone to gun to your head and say, what does that look like? You'd be like, Pikachu.
But then I bring you the Luxray equivalent.
That's Luxray. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's pretty even.
And that's the one that's 1-to-1 to Luxray as well.
There's also a Lucario equivalent that just looks like Lucario cosplaying as Batman, which gets a kick out of me every time I see him.
I like that idea, though.
But then again, like I said, there are some, like actually a lot that are just solely unique. Yeah. And that's when it comes down to, of like, I want to give the developers the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was, like I said, we wanted to create a satirical look at Pokemon and mix in these other elements, and then one of their artists just kind of crossed the line, or maybe just, you know, I don't know. Like it just seems like there is enough creative juice in this game, that it doesn't seem like, oh, we're just going to go out and, you know, rip off Pokemon top to bottom and just sell this.
I think anybody who's jumping to conclusions and making assumptions, I feel like it's really just a battle against this game for no reason.
I think that's it too, because we're
time and energy.
It's exactly like we don't have any official confirmation either way. It's literally just people sort of speculating. It's like, well, it looks exactly the same. I'm like, well, maybe not. It just until we hear something either from Nintendo or official, then we really don't know anything. I mean, here's the thing too. Like, I'll say this, like, regardless out of all of this controversy, the fact that, like, I'm looking at it right now, it did officially it is officially the second highest all-time peak game on Steam charts right now, behind PUBG and above Counter-Strike 2.
Go 3 hours ago.
And so, like, it's obviously, like, it's going gangbusters right now. And in a small kind of way, it kind of further proves how good Game Pass is, because it's available on Game Pass, but also you can buy it on Steam, and there's so many people buying it on Steam. So
and that destroys the argument that, oh, just because a game's on Game Pass doesn't sell.
So
I don't know. Again, this is one of those things. Go ahead, Riley.
I was going to say my biggest hope is that everything's above board and there are no issues with it, because I think the best thing that can come from this is the Pokemon Company being like, oh, okay, like,
so that's exactly what I was about to say.
Like, and I think, like, everybody, for how many years have people been asking for a Pokemon MMO?
Right.
Yeah.
So
so
even as somebody who's I'm not involved in the Pokemon community. I don't really follow Pokemon. I don't know much about Pokemon. But even as somebody who's not well versed in all that, even I still hear the cry for a straight up Pokemon license game that is like Palworld. And I think that's interesting. And if again, like you said, Riley, if everything here is the way it's supposed to be, if we're all following legal guidelines, then hopefully the best news that we get out of this is that Nintendo's got eyes on and saying, this is what the people want. It's time to make our version of this that's officially licensed. And that if they want to take these guys down without being able to legally, that's how you do it. Right. Get some people in a room and say, all right, how do we make this a game on our systems with the official license?
I mean, I was gonna say, when I was playing that, like, that's all I was saying. I was like, man, I would love for Pokemon just to like I can play this as Pokemon and just build stuff with Pokemon, you know, like obviously minus the gun part and capturing trainers or, you know, Nurse Joys and everything. You know.
I mean, here's the thing too, is that, you know, here's the thing too, is that competition, obviously, you know, competition always breeds innovation. And I mean, obviously, yes, granted, Game Freak and Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have basically had a little lockdown for Pokemon for decades now, and they for very good reason. They still make amazing products. And even amazing games. But here's the thing, like, you know what? If there's a little bit of competition and Nintendo is like looking at it being like, maybe that's kind of what players are kind of looking for. We may see that in the next Pokemon entry, and that basically means that more Pokemon fans are going to be even happier.
Yeah. I mean, Marcel, at the top of this whole conversation, you brought up Legends Arceus, and I'm a Pokemon
they're
fan.
there.
I have been crying for a game like that, like an open world kind of Pokemon game. I played that game for 2 hours because that game was not it. From just a performance level, just from a systems level, just nothing really meshed for me. And Palworld gave me everything I wanted from an Arceus. That was exactly the experience I wanted to have. I mean, this game is still early access. There's still like a whole bunch of like weird assets being used. Clearly, they went into the Unity store and just
they confirmed they bought a lot of like animations, a lot of assets they bought.
Yeah, like some of the render distances look like an N64 build and stuff like that. It's not the biggest or best game out there, but the system and the gameplay loop there is so addictive, and it just works. Like
it's very simple.
It just goes to show that if you have a base game that's fun to play, it doesn't matter if you have the most AAA graphics out there. It's just gameplay, and I think that's the biggest takeaway of Palworld is that the gameplay here is a great mix of the Pokemon core loop there that has. To Steve, your point, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company has been sitting on that for 20 years. There's been no innovation there as far as I'm concerned. It's been iterative, but there's no competition to kind of just make that next level growth. And taking that and putting it with Arc, mixing in a little Breath of the Wild, I think this is a great kind of jumping off point for another game of its ilk to kind of come in, even if it comes from the Pokemon Company.
Yeah. And I think that, like, if they're not going to do that, because I understand that why it's the biggest IP in the world is because it is iterative. As you mentioned, like every year there's a new Pokemon game or DLC or an expansion for the existing one. Like, I understand that that's the nature of that game. But if you can find a partner to bring that to your console and have that, like, you can still roll out the core campaigns and then build an MMO proper, like, and then link them all together or something like that, you're going to be in a really interesting spot. So I hope they do something like that. And I hope this lights a bit of a fire to be like, oh, okay, people want to like share in this world of Pokemon, right? Like, and I think that's one of the main appeals of Palworld, or ride them, or do all these different things that I think these kids have been dreaming of doing with these, these monsters and stuff for their whole lives, as long as the IP's been around. So I really hope that they find a way to innovate the franchise in a way that, delivers to the audience in what they've been wanting for so long.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing too. I just had a thought. I mean, I'll admit, and I'm willing to say that if I'm wrong, please correct me on this. But I mean, wasn't Digimon kind of also close enough to Pokemon that it could have been seen as sort of too similar, and yet that was allowed to happen?
Yeah.
One was in your pocket, one was digital. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like,
they digital too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
a whole bunch of Pokemon were just based on Dragon Quest characters.
Dragon Quest, yeah,
true.
Like,
yeah.
Like that's the thing is, like, I don't understand the pearl clutching in the video game industry when you look at film, music, television.
But
like
is when people own the right to bats, or penguins. Like, you can make bat and penguin monsters, like, or tigers and stuff. Like, it's fine. Like,
I mean, like, Pokemon has made like hundreds of little like pocket monsters in a sense. Like, there's gonna be similarities regardless. Like, they kind of, I mean, they freaking make little monsters out of anything. So I don't.
Well, they made it. The thing is, they made it.
Haven't they done yet?
The thing is, they did it in their own art style. While these ones, like, you'll be like, is this actually Pokemon? Like, that's another thing that pops up, right? So
yeah. Again, I just don't understand why people like get so offended if something happens in the video game industry when music can sample other things directly. Films are inspired by other movies and directors and stuff like that. But then you have a game come out like Lies of P last year, and people are like, "Well, wait a minute, this is just Bloodborne with Pinocchio. How dare you?" It's like, well come on, like,
my read on that is, people, and I'm going to say this as a guy who's very heavily associated with Banjo-Kazooie, get way too attached to these IPs, and they start personally identifying with them, and they don't, they get angry, they get passionate because they feel attacked. Like,
isn't Banjo just like Duck Hunt?
Part of that.
No, how dare you?
But to your point, I mean, Ukulele came out and everyone was like, "Hey, stop that! Don't you be creating something that references an instrument."
Well, and then it kind of came out that the ukulele was, like, before it was ukulele, was maybe going to be a banjo game, and then Rare was like, "Never mind," and it's like come on, like, I don't buy into, like, I love IPs and I get attached to IPs and I care about seeing the characters and stuff like that continue on in new and innovative ways. But at some point you got to take a step back and be like, oh yeah, I'm not making any money off this. My livelihood is not attached to this particular thing. I'm more than just Pokemon or this or that. So I hope that people, and that they won't, but I hope that you can take a moment if you're getting really worked up to take a step back and be like, maybe I'll go for a walk. You know, like, I don't know.
Maybe I'll
like,
go
I
talk
think
to
it's
someone.
kind of
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, I don't know.
People don't walk. You
Make
know
a
that,
friend.
Riley.
The other thing too is that if you're gonna make a ballsy move like Palworld, you better make sure that game is good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you have to make sure it is like a Lies of P level or a Palworld level. Otherwise, you come out with like quote unquote, you know, the headline saying that you ripped something off and it's not a good product.
Yeah.
You're gonna get dragged through the coals no matter what.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then you
Well,
just
I
ripped something
remember
off and didn't do it. You didn't do it
Justice,
good.
yeah, exactly.
This person made
no,
how
like
many
a lot of
millions
people-
already? You know, with
I remember a lot of people being upset with Pokemon when they're like, not all the Pokemon are in this one, and then Temtem got announced or something. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
Oh
"Temtem's
yeah,
new Pokemon,
right.
it's gonna be incredible." And I
Yep.
don't even. I think
You
it's
don't
on
even hear
PlayStation
Temtem
now,
anymore.
and I don't
Yep.
really. Yeah, I don't really know about it.
and I feel like the same
Yeah.
thing might
I
happen
think-
with this game as well. You know, where because there's
It can be a
no
flash in the pan, right?
like I don't like when someone reaches the end, they're like, okay, well, there's nothing else for me to do. Then it kind of
So
just cool
that's
off.
another interesting thing too, right? Is now they found this insane overnight success for this game. Are they going to be able to support it now, right?
Right.
Because that's where games like Fortnite really soared and took off, because Fortnite got super huge one day and the developers were maybe not necessarily ready, but they were quick to adapt and jumped right into it and started
They
getting
pivoted very
consistent.
quickly
Yeah,
and
they
started
pivoted
rolling.
very quickly, got consistent updates out, and now it's the juggernaut that it is. So will Palworld be able to hold on to the success, or is it just going to be one of those things where it's the trend right now? Everybody's talking about it, so everybody's playing it, and then it just kind of falls out of the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
It could happen. I mean, it's happened to a few
interesting.
games. Yeah. It's happened to a few games already. Like, obviously, like Valheim isn't really sort of talked about as much anymore. And
Right.
or same with Rust or like, what was the other survival
Escape
game?
from Tarkov was another one.
Yeah. I mean, pretty actually the only person I know who still plays Escape from Tarkov is Dr. Lupo.
Yeah,
But that's mainly about it. So yeah, hey, I don't know. I may give it a try at one point. Who knows? I mean, it's on Xbox, so at least I'll give it a try that way before.
Yeah,
I,
try it on Game
spend some
Pass,
money on it.
Xbox Game Pass, and PC as well.
Yeah.
So
The thing I'll say about
The shot.
The thing I'll say about its like ongoing support and everything is, just anecdotally speaking, I'm 15 hours in. I have half the pals already collected, so I'm already like reaching that threshold of like, okay, once I level up, I think the level cap is 50. I'm just shy of being halfway there as well. So let's just say 30 hours, so to speak, to kind of like full run this game. Is that going to be enough to sustain my interest by the time another big game comes out? Because right now, it's lightning in a bottle. It's the viral game. It's the Among Us right now of 2024.
Yep.
What is going to be that threshold of like, oh, I'm just done. I'm bored now. Like legitimately,
Final Fantasy is right around the corner, and that's it. After that, so long, Palworld.
Among Us is a perfect example, to be honest, like really just caught wind. I mean, and it was a game that was out for so long, right? But it had that overnight success all of a sudden. And then they took forever to get like an update. And now it's just like, okay, maybe people will every now and again jump in, and it's made more than enough money per the kind of game that it is. For them to say we can support this forever, essentially, because it probably doesn't cost a whole ton to support it the way that they want to.
Well, I think the main reason why Among Us like still had like a lot of longevity was just the amount of mods people were making for it to kind of create.
That
new
was
modes.
definitely
Well,
adding
They were
a lot
keeping
more
it
to
up,
it
yeah.
for sure.
that extended that so that a lot of the developers
timing,
basically enough time to
Proximity
keep making
chat
stuff.
mode was super fun. Like where all the lights are off. There's definitely a lot more that you can do there if you're jumping into mods.
That it was on
The timing
mobile
of it
too, right?
Yeah.
It was,
I
it was
mean,
on mobile.
Even a
It was on
game
mobile
like,
first.
even a game like Lethal Company now too is catching that same sort of fire, right? People are really loving it and having fun with it, and you're starting to see that it's getting the way it's being supported, the way it's still keeping the interest is through mods, right? Like I don't know if anybody's played with the voice mimicking thing with the monsters. Super fun. It'll pick up dialogue, like it'll pick up a recording of something you actually say throughout the game, and then it'll make the monsters say that.
That's wow.
It's
really
awesome.
That's a
It's
really
awesome.
cool idea.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
god,
cool.
Nuts.
I love that.
But real quick, how many copies on Steam were sold on PayPal? Or not
It's
PayPal,
just
but-
total.
Total?
That's all we know.
Okay.
It's just total. I think what they
His
say 7
PayPal
million.
account looks pretty big right now, but
Yeah, it's 6 million total. They haven't done this.
They haven't crossed 7. Okay, all right.
I'm willing to bet a lot on Steam versus Xbox.
At least 5.
Yeah,
that I'd say.
The good thing for PAL, again, if everything is on the up and up and it is able to be fully supported in the long run without being taken to court, is that there are some like pretty obvious modes and like support features in there that can come out. Like if they added PvP, that would be huge. If they added, like new
like I was saying,
PALs and stuff like that. Plus, it's still in early access, so they can get that other bump when they do like 1.0. That will drive a lot of audiences to come play it. And then the inevitable PlayStation release.
Yeah.
That's going to be another huge one for them down the road.
That's probably so far. I think I remember reading that in terms of like when that could happen, like they just had the CEO of PlayStation like tag
Shuhei,
Shuhei tagged whatever, like PlayStation development or something. So like it's in terms of when it'll come to PlayStation, that's a long ways away, and we have to hope that by the time that happens, because it will, that it's still got that audience, or it's still got that player base.
At this point, I'm just really quickly like at this point, 5 million sold on Steam for 25 USD. That's over $125 million. Like
easily.
they're even if it takes them a while, I think they'll do fine.
Are they ballsy? Are they
estimated that it might be 2.19 million copies sold by VG Insights? That's what they're saying.
At 2.19?
2.19 million.
So if we're saying it's going for $30, and then we're rounding that up to 3 million.
Yeah, I'd say round up 3, because then that gives 3 for Game
that's
Pass.
still about $100 million.
Yeah, and then however much they got from Xbox for being on putting on Game Pass. So
right.
So they're doing pretty well right now, I think.
I'm sure it didn't cost a whole lot.
I don't think it costs a lot to make this game.
Development cost is nowhere near the amount that they've made.
Spencer is doing just fine.
Yeah.
Are they ballsy enough to put this on a Switch?
Switch
to Palworld.
Too far.
At that point, that'd be the devs of Palworld going to Nintendo saying, "Hey, we'll pay to be on your platform."
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
it's like the classic story where it's like that classic story where a hacker hacks a company and they're like, "Come work for us, kid. You'll go far."
The FBI. Yeah.
You remember that when that one guy hacked Valve, and then Gabe was like, "Hey man, come on over. Like, we want to hire you." And then the cops were there, and it's like, "Oh, you idiot!" Like,
wow. No. That's amazing.
852,000 people currently playing this game right now. Insane.
Yep.
On Steam alone.
The peak was 1.8.
Yeah.
I might try it this evening.
Yeah, I think
you're gonna get hooked. You're gonna get hooked.
Just to try and just to see what all the hype is about. I gotta jump in.
I just want to try it because
I can stop at any time.
Saturday shows up for like Royal Rumble, and Riley's like, "Don't come in here. I'm playing Palworld."
Everyone bring their TV and Xbox.
Yeah.
We're doing a LAN.
Yeah. What about the Rumble? No, we're doing Palworld. LAN party Palworld.
Oh man.
Who invited you? Yeah.
There's always gonna be that one guy in the corner that is basically doing something that's not even playing games at all. Just like he just wanted the good internet.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like, it hasn't even been like a week yet for this game, so who knows? Like, maybe the seventh day they get fraud, like, I don't know, fraud claims like pop up. Who knows? So
I have one ask because I know we got to wrap up. I really hope that Palworld puts a couple of pals in Party Animals, because I think it would be so good. Like the big.
Always got to come back to Party Animals.
This guy, anyway, to bring back Party Animals.
Game of the year. That was our game of the year. I watched the episode. So yeah,
I voted for it.
A couple. Yeah. So that's what you did. Yeah, I hope they do that. Like, they have one guy on their logo right now. I think he'd be jokes with a Party Animal. So
Grisbolt, the guy with the that looked like Electabuzz.
No, not him, but he'd be good too. But he's kind of like, he looks like Quagsire mixed with Dragonite. He's like their profile pick.
Oh yeah, Relaxosaurus.
Is that his name?
Really?
Like the blue guy?
The blue like long neck, right?
Yeah.
Relaxosaurus.
Wow.
There's also Depresso, which is my favorite boy.
Depresso?
Yeah, Depresso's pretty
you
funny.
Make him work, he looks like the saddest guy,
So
the saddest little
mad.
boy you've ever seen.
Wow.
What's the one that's like a penguin, like a Captain Penguin? Pen King, that's what he is.
Pen King, he's
King,
pretty dope
Pen
too.
King's
Yeah.
pretty funny, yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see with Palworld and everything. Caboose, what's going on for the end of the week here? You can't even Suicide Squad can't even come quick enough, you know. So
yeah. I mean, we got a week to go until launch, like I said. So I'm looking forward to that. Outside of that, not much else. You know, I'm playing a lot of the finals. I've been really into that. Definitely, I'm gonna have to try out Palworld and see what's happening. And then,
are you trying Tekken? Are you into Tekken? I don't remember.
Oh, I gotta jump into Tekken 8 for sure. Yeah, I'm ready to check that one out. I mean, I'm terrible at Tekken. I'll never be able to get it, but I love watching Tekken high level.
Yeah. This game looks really, really good.
Yeah, it's super impressive.
It's got a 90 Metacritic score right now.
Really good reviews.
Oh,
out of the
really?
gate. Yeah.
Infinite Wealth got a 91. That's the highest for a Yakuza game, or I guess like a Dragon game as well. So we'll see.
All right.
I'll pick it up. You know, Sammy, how about yourself?
Other than work, gonna try to finish Hellblade this week.
Are you gonna try Pen Pal or PayPal? Or
I probably will. I know, like my husband really wants to play it. I mean, listen, I can't.
Look at that. You judge every single one. You judge Steve and I. You know, human trafficking, slavery, all this stuff. And now you're like, well, I gotta try it myself.
Selling features, baby. Selling features. Oh boy.
Well, I had to highlight it as one of the main features. That's why I brought it up. But other than that, still doing Baldur's Gate. Have not finished one run completely yet, so working on that. And other than that, some articles. Gonna try to write a couple for our gaming network.
Oh yeah!
If you haven't yet, visit agamingnetwork.com
Check
for all
it out.
your
We'll
Canadian gaming
in
news.
the Prince of Persia accolades trailer. So.
Rumor has it we're on there. Rumor has it, you know. Steve Saylor, how about yourself, dude?
Rumor has it it's there. There's no rumor.
That's the point. That's the joke.
I've the stuff I've got working on I can't talk about just yet. So
why not? Tell me.
Why not?
Tell me right now.
Just tell us.
I just can't. So it's just, you know.
I told you about my rumor. You can just tell us what you're doing.
It's just a rumor.
It's a rumor.
Okay. All right. I'll tease up. I am going to be writing my very first feature for a particular website that I can't say just yet. So yeah, expect that as sort of like a potential regular column at some point. So yeah.
And you see right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm an investigative reporter. I just got that information out of Steve Saylor's mouth with no effort.
No effort whatsoever.
Just say it. Just leak it. Yeah, whatever.
Just tell us.
Don't be a nerd. Say it. Yeah.
Damn it. All right. Well, we're not friends anymore, Steve. No more friendly A's for me.
Stevie's feeling his Monday self right now. The Monday face if I ever saw one.
Yes. Palworld, he's good.
I don't know. I will say though, the games though I literally just finished playing for the first time Control last night. I was inspired to jump in after finishing Alan Wake 2, and I was like, I never did finish Control, so I've been playing it exclusively on my Asus ROG Ally. And man, that's a fun game.
How about that Ashtray Maze?
Okay. I will say the Ashtray Maze is great. It does not compare to We Sing though. I'm sad that I got the We Sing first before Ashtray, because I finished Ashtray. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but hey, We Sing though. But I mean, I literally just jumped in. Like, I loved it so much that I've now officially jumped into the DLC. I started playing the Foundation, and then I've already unlocked the Alan Wake DLC. So I'm going to jump into that after I finish the Foundation. So yeah, I'm so far 2024. I'm actually finishing games this year, which is kind of nice. So
23 days in, you're ready to finish your games. That's crazy.
I know that's rare for me. Like I think last year I think I maybe finished a total of 3, maybe 4 games tops, like that. I roll credits on. So
yeah. I didn't. By the way, I didn't know the main actress. She was in Quantum Break as well. I just like I saw it. I'm like, wait, same girl. I had no idea.
Yeah, they share. It's funny because I'm noticing like they share different actors and actresses across the project. So it was pretty cool to see. Like it took me a second to actually realize that Dr. Darling is the voice of Alan, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway.
Yeah. So man, we still need to talk about Alan Wake and the spoiler cast.
Any day.
Yeah, we
Any
do.
day.
Yep.
There's some stuff in there I want to talk about future Quantum Break stuff. I'm like, it's right there. The names, the dropping hints. So anyway, Steve Monday, how about you, dude?
Nothing really going on. I got some like tech reviews going on, but for right now, I'm just basking in Palworld up until Nintendo maybe takes it down, or all of us players are just bad people for supporting plagiarism. I don't know, but right now I'm just enjoying the fact that I can live in this nebulous limbo, and
until it happens, your conscience should be clear.
Exactly, my hands are clean.
Ignorance is bliss.
Exactly, and once the hammer drops, then we can come back here and have a discussion about it.
Yep. I mean, Pokemon Day is February 28th, I think.
That would be an amazing time to take this game to court.
That would be hilarious, though.
We'll see. February 27th. That's what it is. February 27th. So we'll see what they have in stock. Can you imagine they were like, well, we were going to do this too. Well, here's our version, So
here's Palworld Day.
Palworld Day. Exactly. Riley, how about yourself?
We are gearing up for Tekken's launch, which should be pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to trying it myself, hopefully later this week. Outside of that, I'm trying to wrap up Prince of Persia, and and I just got the Sly Cooper trilogy on my PS Vita, so I kind of really want to platinum those.
Nice.
So that's I've got a lot going on, and I don't know if I'll have time for any of it, but I have a lot of lofty goals right now in terms of what I'm playing.
Palworld's gonna eat up all that time. You're not gonna do any of those stuff.
I gotta try that too. Yeah, I gotta try Palworld. So I don't know. We'll see.
Oh my god, the Lucario one just popped up on my screen. I'm like, it's literally Lucario. That's so crazy. It's so crazy. For me, I'm gearing up for Tekken, and I'm no longer playing Palworld. I'm all Palworld out. So I did my 6 hours. I'm like, all right, I see what it is, and I see what the whole hype is and everything. But besides that, I'm good. So, but I'm getting ready for Tekken, and also the Justice League game as well. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, and we'll see all of you next week. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.